Hello, my lovely pincushion. It is Dr. Stephanie Lipnicki here from Natural Alternative Center for Wellness, located in Allentown, New Jersey. I am a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist, massage therapist, esthetician, nutritionist, as well as a bunch of other continuing education classes and certifications. And this is the Natural Alternatives Podcast. So I thought today I would talk a little bit about self-care. And the reason I decided to bring this up was that I had a patient of mine stop by to pick up some retail stuff the other day. And we got to talking about why, her family hadn't been in for a while and how stressful their life had become and how people kept saying to her, just relax, as if it was like a light switch that you can turn on. And when someone tells you to relax, you turn this light switch on and you just relax. And I feel like that sort of falls under the umbrella of self-care. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that. So, of course, I want everyone to get acupuncture as self-care. I wouldn't be an acupuncturist if I didn't believe in how amazing it is. But there are other ways that you can contribute to self-care. And I feel like those are the things that get you to the point where you feel like you can do these nurturing things to relax. So there's several different categories of self-care, and some of them overlap. So we have things like physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, environmental, social, and financial ways of self-care. Physical ways of self-care are things like what you eat, what you put into your body, what types of movement and exercise that you're doing. I don't feel that anyone should do any kind of exercise that they do not absolutely love and enjoy. There has to be some form of exercise that every single person can find that brings them joy and makes them feel wonderful, because that's what exercise should do. Physical also includes the quality of sleep that we get, taking a nap if you need to take a nap, going for a walk, taking some deep breaths, stopping for a moment and just really focusing on whether you're breathing correctly, maybe stretching a little bit. I always even tell people who, work at a desk, make sure you, stretch every once in a while, put your arms over your head, stand up, bend over, touch your toes, get energy flowing and moving. Just taking time to shift what's occurring physically. So again, of course, like acupuncture and massage are, one of the physical things that you can do, and those definitely overlap. There's a mental, spiritual, emotional component that goes along with getting regular massage and getting regular acupuncture. It kind of ticks several of those boxes. I think also the physical action of like doodling on paper can actually just kind of make you feel better. I tend to, when I'm on the phone talking, doodle all the time, or I do it actually even when I go to meetings. I'm on a bunch of different committees locally, and I have the tendency to sit there and doodle and draw on the paper while the meetings are going on, because I feel like I have to do some sort of kinesthetic action when things like that are going on. When you talk about mental self-care, of course, things like talk therapy fall under that category, but also the way that you talk to yourself. So thinking about what your inner voice sounds like when you say things. Like, are you always saying things that are more disparaging? Or are the things that you say to yourself said with love behind them? Are they nurturing thoughts that are going through your head? And I feel like sometimes that's something that people have to work on. I'm guilty of it. I have to work on that myself. I don't always say the nicest things in my own head to myself. I'm very self-critical. I'm more critical of myself than I would be of other people. So it's something I'm always constantly working on. Emotional self-care can be something like approaching your life with gratitude. Gratitude for the things you have, even though crappy shit might be going on. But also allowing yourself to express your emotions, whatever they are. Now, I'm not saying, when I say this, I don't mean going into a room and screaming at the other person who's in that room. But if you're feeling angry, it's actually okay to express that anger. That's a very, like, unexpressed anger, that when it's anger turned inward, becomes depression. So you don't want to have anger lingering there and not being expressed. You need to express it. So I always tell people, you could scream into the void. I remember my mentor saying once that, if you put your earbuds in and pretend like you're on your phone and start screaming as you're walking, people will just think you're yelling at whoever's on the phone, but you can actually release some of that energy. Or yelling in your car. I mean, I sing in my car all the time. You can yell in your car and let go some of that steam, but definitely not keeping it in, allowing emotions to flow. Crying. I think holding in crying is not good. Another thing my mentor always says about crying is that tears hold crystallized emotions. So letting them go allows those emotions to flow. We also have spiritual self-care. So things like meditation, which I'm a strong believer in guided meditation. I feel that if you've never meditated, it's sometimes a little harder to get into that zone and teach yourself how to meditate. So listening to guided meditations is a great way to introduce yourself to that. Another thing that I tell my patients is a great way to calm the mind, which is sort of like a counting meditation. So let's say you're going for a walk and you start counting and you do the 1, 2, 3, and you all of a sudden realize that you've stopped counting and your mind is thinking about something else. You backtrack and start at 1 again. And it'll happen a few times. You may never get past 100, but each time you're doing it, you're distracting your mind so that it calms down a little bit. You can nourish yourself spiritually by saying positive affirmations to yourself. I recently started using the pool again, and I walk in the pool. I really can't swim the way I used to since I had some surgeries back in 2017 that kind of left long-term issues for me. And with my endometriosis, I can't always swim laps. So if I walk in the pool, it's less stressful than trying to walk for an hour around a track. So what I've started doing is when I'm walking laps in the pool is trying to say positive things to myself, like, this is what a healthy, beautiful woman looks like. And it does feel weird at first to say that, but you'll get used to it and it'll get more comfortable. For some people, yoga is a great way to connect physically and spiritually. I always tell people I recommend yoga to other people, but I loathe it. It is not my cup of tea. I've done it. It's just not my favorite thing to do. And like I said earlier, I want you to find an exercise practice that actually makes you feel full with joy. Connecting with nature. And just like physical self-care, going for a walk and connecting with nature is a great way. Again, taking some deep breaths can be spiritual. I always tell people to inhale calm and exhale letting go of stress and tension, noticing where it is in their body, slowing it down, connecting back to your mind and that spiritual side of yourself. So One of the things that I love is dance. Dance for me fills mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical boxes. It checks all of those off for me. It's always been a huge part of my life. It means a great deal to me. There's also intellectual self-care, which can be things like reading, learning something new, learning a new hobby. I am the queen of hobbies. I like dancing, art, crochet, cross-stitch, embroidery, swimming. I'm an avid reader. I also listen to audiobooks. I also listen to podcasts. Things that make me feel like my mind is expanding. There's environmental self-care. So you could, if you look at a room and it doesn't feel right to you, if you move the furniture around, sometimes that slight environmental shift can just change your whole outlook on things. It can make you feel more inspired. Adding things around you that are inspiring, artwork that makes you feel joyful. Or if you want to move into a more minimalist state of mind, you could Maria Kondo your house. I'm an excessive person. I always say I'm a book hoarder. I am a collector of books. I am a collector of craft things so that I can make anything at any given time. So Maria Kondo would die if she saw my house. There's also a social component of self-care. Being cautious about who you surround yourself with. Are the people around you socially draining you? Are the people you work with draining you? Do the people around you make you feel like you're being built up or torn apart? Creating healthy boundaries, connecting with those that make you feel fantastic, saying no. Now, I say this as someone who struggles with saying no. You have to put yourself first, and I'm very guilty of forgetting that I need to put myself first, because if you don't put yourself first, you can't help other people. Distancing yourself from people who you don't feel nourish you, even if that means that it's people within your family that don't nourish you. There are people in my family who I feel more nourished by, and there are people who I feel less nourished by. And that's okay. I think society tells us it's not, but it is okay. I love having venting sessions with my friends. Sitting around a fire pit on a, cool night and hanging with friends and just being like, this really fucking sucks right now, is a great form of self-care. And then, of course, there's financial self-care. Having a budget, sticking to a budget, saving for emergencies, not overextending yourself financially, as well as contributing to causes that you feel fill you up. And sometimes, and I kind of put this under financial, it can be buying yourself something new but inexpensive. So I'm going to tell you right now, I am not the woman who shops for shoes to nourish myself. I am not a shoe shopper. I just, it's not my thing. What I do shop for is new undergarments. When I feel like I need something, it's bras and underwear for me, and socks. I have a huge sock collection, the most amazing socks. Some other little things that you can do, listening to your favorite music. If it's that you feel like you need to cry, you can listen to music that will initiate that crying so you have that emotional release. Listening to music that nourishes your soul, or music that makes you want to get up and dance. Just shift the energy. Screaming into a pillow is another good one. Sometimes you may need to do a digital detox as someone who is addicted to knowing what's going on in the world, because as an acupuncturist, it can sometimes be very isolating. If you're in a solo practice, I tend to scroll I call it hope scrolling because I look for things on social media that make me feel good. Following artists, looking at different art, following people who crochet, people who embroider, stuff that makes me feel really good. But sometimes you need to take a step back and detox from that. Have a specific time at night, an hour before you go to bed, that you're like, I'm not going to have blue light stimulation, and I'm going to get off my phone and put it on Do Not Disturb, and I'm not going to pick it up again. I'm also someone who plays a lot of games on my phone. It is such a de-stressor for me. I like a lot of puzzle games. For some reason, that just quiets my mind and it puts me in a place where I'm like, I can let go of the day, particularly if I've had challenging cases in my clinic that have made me feel like tired and overwhelmed. Sometimes just doing that just kind of kicks me out of that. But that whole thing got started of thinking about all these things because my patients and people kept telling her to just relax, which if you think about what it means that they're encouraging you to try to let go of excessive worry and trust in the present moment. But sometimes that is hard. So I have a love-hate relationship with that whole just relax thing. I love the word relax because of what it means, because I want people to relax when they come to see me. I hate it because I don't think you should just keep saying to people, just relax. If you could, you would be doing that. I heard it a lot when I was going through fertility issues and miscarriage issues and that loss. And what it made me think of was, I like the phrase better, and I say this to my patients, because relaxing and self-care are subjective. I say, I need you to find ways that you can nourish yourself while you're going through this. And it, like I just feel like those are kinder words than that forceful, just relax, just, because if you could, you would be doing that. And I think as a person, it's okay for you to say to someone, please stop saying just relax, because if I could, I would. When you're trying to think of what you could say to someone, if the saying, find something to nourish yourself, doesn't feel right to you, how about you say, is there anything I could do to ease that stress for you right now? Is there anything I could do that would help make things better for you? Or saying, what do you need to take care of you right now? And just say, I hope you find something that is nourishing and fulfilling to help you counter the stress that's going on in your life. Some other things that I like for self-care, a shower or a bath. I always feel like when I'm super stressed, just the water just washes away so much of the tension. Enjoying a super nourishing meal out somewhere where someone else is cooking for you. You don't have to wait for a friend to go out and do that. You can totally go out and have a perfectly nourishing meal by yourself, or do it with a friend and have a venting session. Making a nourishing meal for yourself is also super fantastic. I always say that when you cook with love, you're eating that love. And what's more nourishing than eating food that you've cooked that's cooked with love, particularly if it's healthy? Go see a movie. Go see a movie that makes you laugh. Watch a movie that makes you laugh when you're at home. Definitely partaking in laughter can shift that energy, whether you're watching a comedy on TV. I tend to rewatch movies that I like over and over, to the extent that in my house we tend to quote movie lines of things we've seen over and over. Maybe even a TV series that makes you laugh, series that you've seen before. Snuggling with animals. If you have an animal, snuggle them up when you're not feeling great. I feel like they take away all that stress. I'm going to share my love for Post-its. I love Post-it notes. Write yourself positive things on Post-it notes and leave them in different places. Put them on your bathroom mirror, put them on your nightstand so that it's the first thing you see when you get up. Put them in your car so you have, positive reminders, only positive things on them. Stick them everywhere so that you can look at them again and again and start shifting that narrative of things that you say. I have also started setting reminders on my phone so they pop up and say things like, you are an amazing person. Don't forget to drink water. Make sure you get a good night's sleep so you can help people again tomorrow. Whatever you feel like you need to hear, you can set those reminders on your phone and set them to pop up at the same time every day. Go someplace that you really like. I find that I like going to the ocean, especially this time of year when it's what we like to call local beach season. When you live in Monmouth County and you're like, nope, not going to go to the beach until it's local beach season. And listening to the waves, feeling like the ocean is taking away your cares and troubles. Make a vision board. You can make a vision board on your phone. There's a lot of different apps. I tend to use Canva to create things for my business, and you can make a vision board on that. Or make one with a cork board, the old-fashioned way. Put pictures in it that you love to look at as reminders of the things that are beautiful in life that you like. Commit to changing one thing a day, whether it's saying one positive thing to yourself or you need to shift the way that your home looks and say, okay, I'm going to throw out one thing that I don't really love every day. Intimacy, being intimate with someone else can allow you to relax and let go of so much stress. Making sure you're taking your vacations and your time off and that you aren't overworking, or that if you need a personal day, take it, because you will be better at the things that you do the next day if you take those personal days. Finding inspirational things to listen to, inspirational podcasts, doing meditations, blowing bubbles. I find that blowing bubbles is a super cool way to reduce stress. I have a meditation that I wrote about that, based on meditations that I used to do when I taught at massage school, and visualizing that every bubble you blow is letting go of whatever is weighing heavily on your heart. Just beginning to look at aspects of your life that are just not allowing you to get to that place of relaxation and not allowing you to feel nurtured. And of course, like I said, acupuncture is a great way to do that. I want everyone to try acupuncture. But there are so many ways that you can do that and think about things that are nurturing to you. And maybe there are big shifts that you need to make. And while I don't expect those big shifts to happen overnight, beginning to acknowledge that things need to change, it might just bring a greater sense of calm to your life. Hop onto one of my Zoom meditations and just allow me to take you to a place of calm and relaxation. I do them as a series. They're usually weekly. I think they're very relaxing as someone who is guiding you through it. And it's just another way to look at things. So I want to end by thanking you for listening and telling you that it's okay if you hate those words, just relax, because so many people do. I want to thank a Shared Universe podcast studio, which is where the podcast is recorded and makes my voice sound way better than it would if I recorded at home. I would like to share the other ways you can find me. You can visit me at my website at naturalalternativescenterforwellness.com. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Natural Alternative Center. My TikTok account is Dr. Stephanie, DACM. When you're on my website, you can sign up for my weekly email newsletter. I also have a little bonus gift when you sign up through the website. And I am always interested in knowing what other topics you guys would like me to share. So you can reach out to me, tell me you liked a particular topic I shared, you didn't like a particular topic. If there's something you wanted to learn more about, just reach out and let me know. Thank you for listening. Be well. Make sure to share this with all your friends and come back and listen again. The contents presented during the Natural Alternatives podcast include information about various modalities that exist to achieve health and wellness and are for informational purposes only. You acknowledge and agree that the following disclaimers and warnings shall apply to all content presented. The podcast contains the opinions of Dr. Stephanie Lipnicki, DACM Lac, and the guests of the show. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you have regarding any medical condition. The views expressed in the Natural Alternatives podcast are our own and do not represent those of all licensed acupuncture professionals. Always seek the help of your own acupuncturist or medical provider to determine your best course of care. You may want to use the information presented as a supplement to better understand your diagnosis or treatment, but it should not be the sole thing that you use to make important medical decisions. Do not use the content of the podcast in lieu of medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking care because of something you have heard on this podcast. Privacy is important to us, thus all people, places, and scenarios have been changed where applicable to protect privacy and maintain confidentiality.